What if a child's diagnosis doesn't match their developmental needs? That's where my thesis research question begins. In my clinical work as a developmental person, children are referred to our autism diagnostic clinic when there are concerns about their social skills or communication, among other things. Among the children that we see, there's a subgroup of children whose presentation doesn't fit neatly into a diagnostic label. These children would then find it difficult to navigate services or educational supports because many of these systems determine needs and services based on diagnosis. There's also little data about the developmental outcomes of these children, because how do you study something that you can't name? That's where some of the unique aspects of British Columbia come in. We have a provincial autism diagnostic program where we collect clinical data about every child assessed. We also collect data about children's development through the Early Development Instrument, where kindergarten teachers answer 103 questions about every child in their class. These questions cover 5 main developmental areas shown at the bottom of my graph. Then in grade 4, children are offered the opportunity to self-report on how they're doing. By linking the autism clinical data to the developmental outcomes in kindergarten and then in grade 4, I was able to compare the children who were not diagnosed with autism with the children who were. When I looked at their developmental profiles at kindergarten, the children who were not diagnosed, shown in blue, had a very similar profile to the children who were diagnosed, shown in orange. And they both had markedly more impairments than typically developing children, shown in green. Their differences in social skills also persisted into grade 4. Both groups made progress, but the children who were not diagnosed, they made less progress. Why would that be? One of the things I found was that the children who were not diagnosed received less educational funding, suggesting that without a clear diagnosis, it was harder for these children to access funding for supports, despite having a similar developmental profile. So, should we come up with more diagnostic labels to help identify this group of children? Perhaps not. What if instead of focusing on the diagnosis, we instead focus on how these children are functioning in their day-to-day activities and figure out how we can support them to develop the skills or participate in the activities that would most enrich their lives? Don't you think that that would be a better way to determine needs and services? I think so. Thank you.